Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good day and welcome to another enthralling episode of the Whiteblood Panorama, a show that hosts and holds politicians accountable for their actions and inactions. I'm your host Umar Isa Dandugo, and don't forget the channel is Whiteblood Multimedia. Well, my guest today is a celebrity, a good public speaker, and an attention-grabbing writer. He is also a social media influencer who has more than 250,000 followers on Twitter alone and more than 60,000 followers on Instagram. And on Facebook, the figures are above 300,000. Salihu Tanko Yakasai, popularly known on social media as Dawisu, meaning peacock, is among the candidates vying for the gubernatorial seat of Kano State. And he is from the People's Redemption Party, the PRP. Dawisu was, until 2021, part and parcel of the outgoing Ganduje administration as the special advisor on media to the governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, after rising from the position of Director General, Media and Communications at the Government House here in Kano. He was fired, well, to use more like a Donald Trump's style, after criticizing the federal government for the rise in insecurity in the country. Now he is trying to succeed his former boss, Ganduje, who he described in an article he wrote in 2015 as a leader with, quote, vision. Does he still mean those words? And if he succeeds, what difference is he going to make? Well, in the first episode of the program, we are going to seriously debate on whether or not the youths of Nigeria are ready to take the mantle of power, because there has been for a long period of time a debate around the capacity and the capability of the youths when it comes to the issue of leadership. And Dawisu, my guest today, strongly believes that we all should be politicians. But are we not just ready but capable? And above all, do we have each other's backs? Well, Salihu Tanko Yakasai, Dawisu Kanawa joins me now in the studio. Welcome to the program. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Bandago, for having me.
Well, I don't know, probably a lengthy introduction, but I hope it has encapsulated the necessary pieces of information that needs to be dished out to the public.
Yes, it has.
Let's kick off. I also forgot to also mention in the introduction that you once worked as a freelance journalist for CNN, something great, as part of your professional life. And so if CNN is looking for somebody, please recommend me. This is a joke, yeah, of course, but I like it, by the way. So let's kick off, as I said. Do you think the current contemporary youths of Nigeria deserve to step in and take the mantle of power here in Nigeria?
Once again, thank you for having me in this very important and popular TV program.
Thank you.
The topic that you started with is a very important one for me personally, because the role that the youth generally play, not just in politics or in governance, but also in every aspect of life, is very important and critical. You know, because they constitute, first of all, the significant percentage of the population.
Sure.
You know, in Nigeria, we're talking about 70% of the population being under the age of 40. That's a huge number.
Of course it is.
You know, so you can imagine there isn't any sector, there isn't any endeavor that you'll undertake without the youth being part of it. Not just being part of it, but also being the drivers of it. You know, so they drive this, every other thing that we do in this country. You know, all the planning that we do in this country is for the young people, you know, and not just the ones that are currently and now, but even those that will come in the future. So everything that you do revolves around the young people, you know. So of course they deserve to be actively involved. They are actively involved in a number of things. You know, they are the ones that are more or less drive the campaigns for the politicians. You know, they are the ones that practically do everything. They are the foot soldiers of the politicians.
But they are just merely like servants. They're not the ones reaping the fruits of the whole thing. They just like you know, get things, help the politicians, push them. At the end of the day, the politicians go and leave them behind.
Yeah, so that's what I was getting at.
Okay.
You know, they drive the politicians, but unfortunately, when it comes to the all-important aspect or matter of being or having a seat at the table, you know, you realize that the young people are not there. There are a number of these reasons why this happened. You know, it's not entirely. They also have their own shortcomings. You know, but majorly, I think they are being left out. You know, of the decision-making process at the highest level, which is what they are lacking, and I think that's what needs to be addressed, irrespective of what their shortcomings are. You know, but at least they have to be they're well competent and qualified Nigerians that deserve to have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
You know, so irrespective of their shortcomings, I think it's important for them to be represented at that seat. You know, not just one or two, you know, positions, but major roles. They need to be given major roles to play. You know, because what we have now mostly is a lot of young people that are in government end up being special assistant, PA. You know, that's what they usually, give them. You know, you don't see them being given cabinet level positions,
top ranking positions,
ministers, head of parastatals. Juicy parastatals for that matter. You don't see them being carried along in that regard.
And why do you think they are not invited? They're not dragged into the decision-making circle of the administrations in plural?
Yes, so like I said, they have shortcomings, and this is why they are not being carried.
Shortcomings as in they are not educated?
Not just educated. We have a lot of young educated people that can represent them. But most importantly, I think there are a lot of them need experience. You know, so you need to build your experience. You need to start from somewhere. You know, you need to experience a number of things. You know, you just mentioned some of my own experiences in life. You know, and I have lots of others. You know,
you've been in politics for the past 22 years.
22 years now. You know, and
probably
also,
half of your life.
More or less, yes,
something like that.
Yeah. So you also have. I also have background in community development projects. So, you know, you need to have experiences in life, you know, for that to prepare you for a huge responsibility like a cabinet level position or a head of parastatal agencies.
But the elderly politicians are mostly accused of not giving opportunities, any opportunity whatsoever, to the young people so that they can grow up and probably reach the levels that the elderly politicians are currently occupying.
So that comes to the second shortcoming that the young people have in this country, which is lack of coordination, lack of organization.
Okay.
You know, so they do not bring themselves together and work together as a team. So, you know, everyone is either working for one individual or the other, you know, just for his own selfish interest. You hardly see them working selflessly for the interests of the younger generation. You hardly see that happen. You know, each one will just have a place, and you know, he just glued himself to that place. You know, at the detriment of the larger younger generation. So I think this is one of the major problems. And these elites, these political leaders, godfathers, you know, they have seen that loophole and they are lynching on it. You understand? They sample and they just pick this one and pick that one. And anytime someone that has, you know, that decides to be a rebel, for lack of a better word, if I can use that one, decides to be a rebel, he's clamped down, they shut him down, you know, they don't allow him to go. Because he's going to challenge them, he's going to demand for more, you know, and they will make sure they isolate you, they make sure they shut you down, and they won't give you a chance to grow. So unfortunately, the younger generation are not seeing this. They are not rallying around themselves, you know, to form a formidable team so that they can push their own agenda and so what have you. I would love to see young people now, group of young people, you know, coming together and demanding what is the youth agenda from the political leaders that we have now. We are going into an election. So what stops the young people from coming up with item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and going to this politician and asking him, what are your plans for the young people. If he doesn't have, they present him their own. They say, this is our charter of demand. This is what we want you to do for us as president. So they sample the leaders and see which one has a better plan for them, and they adopt him and support and vote for him based on this. But unfortunately, that is not happening.
Of course, I would like, because in the course of your explanation, you started talking about godfatherism, something very much interesting, and I am personally and particularly interested in it. We're going to get to that, but for now, when you are actively part and parcel of the Ganduje administration, how much of a help did you become for other young people?
So generally, I am not one to blow his own trumpet. I usually don't play the role that we played, but sometimes I prefer these questions are asked, those that know what we did, are the ones that should speak.
But right now, it's only you that is on the table.
Yeah, as a journalist, it is your responsibility to go, and I can direct you in the right direction, but I'll tell you what we have done, you understand?
So you can say it humbly.
Yeah, so we, first of all, I'm not, I was just there to advise, and my role is media. So that is my limitation while in government.
Okay.
I am not a cabinet member. I do not sit at the State Executive Council.
Okay.
So I'm just there to advise my principal with in regards to media. So just so you understand my role. So I do not have a portfolio of appointing or awarding things that people benefit from. So by the way, but still, I use my access that I have to the governor and influence a number of things. I know that I've played a significant role in issues that are related not just to young people, but also to the larger society, the state at large. And I was more or less, for example, I was instrumental to a lot of the payments of scholarship for our students that are studying abroad.
Okay, good.
I'm sure if you reach out to a number of them, those that did Sudan, those that did Uganda and India, I played a key role, in using my access to the government to ensure that their fees and both school fees and allowances are paid. I've also used my position to push one or two things through the governor that have been put forward by a number of young people. And
those things got executed?
A lot of them did, Fortunately, I was opportune that I have the ears of the governor. So, a lot of the times when we push this...
because you were very loyal to him.
I was loyal, very loyal.
And are you still loyal to him?
I am. He's my godfather. He's my more or less a leader, for instance. For someone that
to him.
I look up to him because he gave me an opportunity to come and serve the state government for 6 years. He didn't know me. He didn't know me when he appointed me. So for that, I'm grateful for him.
Which means if you become the next governor of Kano, you would just continue from where he...
No, I have my own policies, I have my own plan, I have my own vision for the state. So I'm going to be a government. The government is going to be that of Dawisu.
Oh, that of Dawisu, not that of Ganduje.
Yes.
Which means, let me search for the better word. Which means reversing some of the things that he has done, probably?
It depends. There are those that... So there are commendable ones. Not everything that is bad. There are highly commendable ones, and then there are those that need tracking and work on it.
Okay, good. This issue, and among other things that are related to your agenda when you become the governor, will thoroughly be scrutinized on this table in the next episode. But for now, let's stick to this issue of young people and youth's participation in politics. Nigerian politics is said to be a very expensive one, and the youths of today don't have money. And not just in Nigeria, even in the United States of America, money plays a significant role in the politics. So which means, since the young people of Nigeria now don't have the money to get into politics, are you saying that they should seek for godfathers before they succeed?
No.
Why?
Yeah, because, of course, short funding is one of the major problems that is bedeviling the younger generation, because they do not have access to funds, and these things require funds.
Yeah, sure.
But they can crowdfund.
Crowdfund, as in they gather the other young people, their counterparts,
Yeah.
and get the money from them.
Absolutely.
Those who cannot even get married because they are probably unemployed, how can
Absolutely.
they contribute money to a politician who could then be a member of House of Representatives or even the governor or president, something like that?
Crowdfunding is the easiest way to raise funds because your little contribution, means a lot, because if you keep adding it up, you get the right funding that you need. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
The limit for the campaign fund that a gubernatorial candidate is expected to spend, according to INEC, is 1 billion naira.
1 billion naira.
That's the maximum a gubernatorial candidate is supposed to spend as a governor in contesting for election. You understand? So 1 billion would seem like a lot of money,
Sure.
but crowdfunding, you can raise it within 48 hours.
Have you got that amount?
No, I
personally?
don't. Do I look like a rich man, a billionaire?
No, I mean through
That's what I'm
crowdfunding.
saying.
I know you have a lot of
That's one
you have
of
a
the
lot of followers
ways.
on social media, and mostly crowdfunding happens on social media these days. Have you done that personally?
That's what we intend to do. So that's what I'm telling you. You can, for instance, now that 1 billion, if each and every, if for instance we have, let's say 20 million Kano people, and out of that 20 million, 70% of them are young people under the age of 40. So 70%, we are talking about 15 million people, right?
Yeah, something
15
like
million
that.
people. So if just 1 million out of that 15 million people, just young people, if just 1 million of them would give 1,000 each, you have
That's
your
how
1
much.
billion.
Okay.
Yeah, just 1 million of them.
1 million.
And how it works is that crowdfunding works in such a way that it's so easy.
Yeah.
And we go to someone, a businessman, a young businessman is doing well. He say, I can give you up to 100,000 naira.
Yeah.
You're covering for how many people? So you can see how the numbers you can easily add up.
So young people should take this as an opportunity
Absolutely.
to
Because
push for them.
Yes,
for their-
because I assure you that in Kano, there are people that will give you 1,000 naira without feeling a thing. It's just one time.
Yeah.
It's not that you're going to come back to you every month and ask you for 1,000. So they have to explore means and ways that they can support one another. They cannot be relying on someone to come and fund them.
Yeah.
You understand? And this is one of my policies. I'm not going to any godfather to fund my campaign. The people will take ownership of it. Because anybody that funds your campaign, he is investing in it. And if you invest in it, that means he's expecting return.
Yeah.
So how do you
Well,
handle that?
well,
If someone comes and gives you 500 million naira, and say, do this campaign, do you see Papa that Christmas that will just dash you 500 million naira and say, go and do campaign?
Definitely that person must have some kind of influence in the affairs of the government.
Absolutely.
When you become
so
the
there is no problem for someone to have influence in government, but what we are saying is that let it be for good cause. You understand? Let it be for the betterment of the state. But unfortunately, those investors, I call them investors, that invest money in campaigns like this, they invest it so that when the government is elected, they come back and start demanding for things that the government cannot do.
Lucrative contracts.
Yes.
and
Sometimes
stuff like
at the detriment of the state. If it is a genuine, legitimate business, there's no problem.
Are you personally planning on this crowdfunding?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
That's why you asked how the youth can raise funds, and I'm telling you how they can do it. And that is also what I intend to do.
Okay, so how would you, this comes to the issue of building trust. How would you confirm to them, reassure them that, okay, if you guys contribute your money to my campaign, and if I become the next governor of Kano, there are so many things, great things that I'm going to bring to you, and you are going to be satisfied with my leadership. Because it happened in 2015, a lot of people contributed money to the current president, President Buhari. And right now, most of those people are, regretting doing that. What would happen in your case?
Well, my case, first of all, you have to look at the track record of who you are supporting. It's very important to look at what he stands for, what he has done. And even though I can categorically say President Buhari as a president is a failure, in terms of his governance. But as a person, nobody can tell you that President Buhari is a thief.
Yeah, everyone testifies that. Everyone on this table, a lot of people have said.
Yes, so a lot of people know that he's not a thief. But of course, in terms of the government, of course, you can tag that government as a failure. So what I'm trying to get at is that, you know, those that contributed to his campaign, you know, I rest assured that, you know, he didn't embezzle their resources. You understand? So first, that's what I mean by, you know, looking at the track record of the person that you're supporting. But most importantly, one of the mistakes that we do in this country is that we come to the populace without a plan, without a blueprint. You know, ask those that supported the president what was his blueprint, what was it that he intended to do for them. You know, sector by sector, there was no plan. You know, it was, I think, after his election that he said he was going to focus on insecurity. You know, leading up to the election, he said he was going to focus on insecurity, economy, and corruption. You know, but nobody asked, how are you going to do that?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like people had an implicit trust in him.
Yeah,
they believed him implicitly that he was just going to fix the whole thing.
Yes, just I'm going to fight corruption, I'm going to fight insecurity, I'm going to work on the economy. Nobody asked how.
So what has gone wrong now?
You know, so this is where the problem is. You know, if you don't have a plan, of course you're bound to fail. Anybody without a plan, you know, is bound to fail. And this is what I mean by saying that we have a plan, we have a blueprint. So our plan and blueprint, you know, is being worked on. I've talked on a few instances of what we intend to do. So if you are funding people, you know, campaigns, first of all, you have to make sure that they are people of character, that they are not going there to embezzle your funds, even if they have a plan. And then, of course, if you can vouch for their character, then you can go on to look into their plan, their manifesto, you know, sector by sector. You know, what are you going to do in this sector? At least if they get elected and, you know, do a certain percentage, you can rate them high on that one. You know, but at least you know what they are going there for. Okay,
one more thing before we jump into your relationship with Ganduje when we started talking about it, and your criticism of the government of Buhari regarding the issue of insecurity, which cost you your position. Address this issue now. Let's assume that the voters agree with you and other people who are campaigning regarding this issue, that the young people of today are capable, are ready to take the mantle of power. How do you prove to the voters that the young people who are now trying, like you, pursuing, vying for different seats of the political system or power, how do you prove to them that you are capable and you can deliver well?
Well, you will explore all avenues possible, you know, to prove to them that you can. One of it, like I keep saying, is what we intend to do for them. You know, the plan that we have for them. And the second thing is to engage them. You know, you have to meet different stakeholders, young people, you know, their organizations, their groups, their associations. You meet with them, you interact with them. You know, let them get to know you one-on-one and hear your visions. You know, you share your plans with them and let them be a part of it. You know, sometimes you don't just go and dump it on them. Sometimes you go and ask them, you know, I intend to do this. What do you think of this idea? What are your plans? What are your needs? You know, so if you make it, you know, interactive, you know, so that you're also getting feedback from them, you know, at least that would give them that sense of ownership. You know, they will take it upon themselves to, you know, fight for you because they believe in the cause. They do not only believe on what you are selling, but they are also salespeople to these ideas and ideologies that you have. And most importantly, they have input in the plans that you have. You know? So this is one way, engagement. You have to engage, you have to enlighten. You have to do a lot of enlightenment. This is why I'm here talking to you. You know, any opportunity to reach a larger audience, to reach a mass audience, use it. Share your ideas, talk to people.
And I know you also do it virtually via your social
online,
media accounts.
Like you rightly said, we have a lot of followers, so we take a full advantage of that. You know, we tell our people what we want to do for them. We engage them. Just 4 or 5 days ago, I engaged people on my Twitter handle They were asking me plans, what are our plans. I was telling them, and you have no idea the impact that did.
Okay,
because people, see that you are responding to them. They're asking you questions and you're answering instantly. That goes a long way in getting to
and building a rapport
with the young people. So it's important. These are ways that you can.
Are you going to do a face-to-face physical meeting with some of those youth groups?
Why not? I have to, But I keep telling people that this election is different, and if you are not careful, you shoot yourself in the foot. Because this election, has a lifespan of 8 months now, from now till the general election. Even by the official calendar of INEC, we are talking about 5 months, because the governorship election campaign is officially supposed to start 12th of October. So even from October to March, when the election will take place, that's about 5 months. So you have to plan, and there will be a lot of programs that we'll do. We'll do a lot of town hall meetings, to talk to these people, young people, in their environment. The student union will go to the institutions and meet with them. The student associations will meet them in their office, or they come to us and we'll engage one another. So we'll do it. But like I said, it has to be well structured, it has to be well planned. Or you run a marathon, you run a sprint run in a marathon race, you understand? And then, of course, you get exhausted, you get tired, and so you have to plan. You just jump on it and start running like a madman.
Okay, let's now talk about your relationship with, even though you started saying that you have got nothing, no ill feelings, no problems between you and your former boss, Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. What happened probably towards the end of 2021 was that you had a courage to speak truth to the power, and it was something worth celebrating. People like you are not many, though we need them a lot, to be able to look at the government and say, hey, you've messed up in this place, you've messed up in that area, and you need to fix it. But unfortunately, many people are saying that the government is not here, something like that. But it ended up costing your position, costing your career. And you even said it in a TED talk you delivered at BUK that, you became unemployed, even though it was a joke, I believe you. You still have a lot of things doing. How risky is it for someone to look at the government and tell them the truth?
It's very risky because, as we all know, not many people have like you rightly said, the right word is courage to do that. It's very risky because, first of all, you lose your job, like I did. You end up being arrested, like I did. You end up being antagonized, like I did. But, at the end of the day, what I really want people to understand is that whether you do that or you don't do that, you are still going to leave that position. You are appointed and it has an expiration date, whether 1 tenure, 2 tenure. Sometimes you will not even live to see the end of the tenure. One way or the other, you leave that position. So if you are leaving that position, irrespective of what you do or what you don't do, so the best thing to do is to ensure that you do the right thing. And I always say this, you understand, there are a lot of things that we could speak about. Issues bedeviling the government, from the nepotism in the government to the failures of those that were saddled with responsibility, corruption and so on and so forth. We've seen a lot of them, but I think if we can keep quiet on those ones, because it's our government, we belong to the same party, the one that we cannot absolutely keep quiet is that of insecurity.
Sure.
Because one way or the other, insecurity affects each and every one of us.
And that's why you took to Twitter.
I'm
going to read the posts that you made on that very day. It says, and I quote, "Clearly, we as APC government at all levels have failed Nigerians in the number one duty we were elected to do, which is to secure lives and properties. Not a single day goes by without some sort of insecurity in this land. This is a shame." And then you put exclamation mark. "Deal with terrorists decisively or resign. Definitely you are referring to the president of Nigeria, aren't you?
Who is the leader of the... He's the leader of the government. Any other person in that government is serving at his mercy. Whether the service chiefs, the minister of defense, whoever you can talk about, you know. And before that incident, there have been a number of other incidences, you know, revolving around the same banditry, the same kidnapping, and so on and so forth. You know, we have seen many of them. So it wasn't like it was the first time.
But you should have looked at the president in the eye and told him this.
Why do I have the access?
You are part of the state government, which is, well, very much friendly with the government.
It is not connected to the federal government. It is not.
I'm sure you might have had one personal relationship with the president.
I do not. I campaigned for him. You know, I did my best, and that's it. I don't have access to him. So and you can. What people fail to understand is that, you know, how many years have this thing been going on? It wasn't like a number of days. It has been going on for how many years? You know, almost since this administration came in. You know, it came in at the height of Boko Haram, and you know, I remember the president clearly before being elected in 2015 shouting, "What is Boko Haram?" You know. Yeah. So if he feels as a general, you know, he can handle any insecurity issue, then what is taking him 7 years now to tackle other insecurity?
Do you regret now what you did?
Not at all.
Okay, finally, before we go, DSS arrested you and held you for questioning a few days after the post. And then in an interview with Kaftan TV on YouTube, I even downloaded the interview, you spoke to the presenter and you told him that after they realized that nobody was sponsoring you, nobody was pushing you to do what you did, they released you. But what I noticed personally in that interview, this is my personal observation, is that when you were explaining this issue of interrogation by the DSS to the presenter, your tone was low. You couldn't make an eye contact with him. You were looking at a little bit at the other side and the floor of the studio. My curiosity is telling me that you probably didn't tell him the whole story. Now tell me, probably nobody would know. Did you go through what in the US they refer to as enhanced interrogation methods? And at the end of the day, the DSS said, Salihu, shut your mouth up. Don't talk about it.
No. Yes.
No interrogation. No enhanced interrogation.
No.
The euphemism of torture.
No.
They treated you friendly.
Very friendly.
So just questioning.
Yeah, just question. The same way you are questioning me now. It's the same way.
No, they call it interrogation, not questioning.
That is what you are doing now. So it's the same thing that happened. You know, I was kept. Nobody even talked to me.
Yeah.
Until I think the day that I was released. That was a Monday. So that was when I was. That was when the interrogation happened. Yeah. So no inhuman. I didn't want to. The reason perhaps maybe I was hesitant is because I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
You understand? It was a terrible experience. You know, even though I was not ill-treated, but it was a terrible experience, particularly what my family went through. So I do not want to, go into that. I really want that chapter closed.
Yeah.
You know, but I was not ill-treated in any way. I can guarantee you. If I am, I will tell you.
Okay.
I'm that open.
That's good. You should have resigned earlier than the day they fired you because of, the terrible things that were happening in the country. But you didn't. In fact, when you were suspended, they reinstated you. Probably, I don't know what happened along the line. And then you accepted the appointment. You came back, you continued the criticism, and then they fired you. A lot of people say, no, you shouldn't praise Dawisu for doing that. What he should have done was that stepping down as a protest towards the government, because this is what is happening in the developed countries, in the UK, in the US, and even in some Asian countries.
Yeah.
Why didn't you step down?
I have a lot of value to add, and I added that value at the state level. What people fail to understand is that there's a difference between Kano State and the federal government. There's a difference between Ganduje and Buhari. You understand? And if you talk about insecurity, Kano is one of the most secure states in the country, not just in northern Nigeria. You understand? Apart from little phone theft, and little, I wouldn't call them little crimes, but apart from smaller crimes, we do not have major crimes. Any kidnapping that happens in Kano the security forces do their best to unfold that kidnapping issue. The recent one, the mother of one of the senatorial candidates in the state who was kidnapped, within a few days the security operatives got her back. And I know that a number of times they have done that. And I'm privileged to know a lot of things that probably the public doesn't know in terms of the effort that the state government, in collaboration with the security people, are doing in safeguarding the state. So there's a lot of things, good things that the government has been doing in that regard, and I know the value that I've been adding. And that's why you decided to stay. I did not offend the Kano state government. I did not have issue with the Kano state government. My issue is the federal government. You understand? And like I said, it's the issue of insecurity. So that one I cannot keep quiet. And I felt, resigning from my position in the Kano state government, I'll be denying the people of Kano an opportunity for me to add my own little value to the state. And as you can see, I'm not to blow my own trumpet, but since leaving government, the activities of the government, in terms of publicizing the activities of the government, has drastically gone down. And
protecting its own propaganda.
It's not a bad thing. It's just to push out the things that our government have been doing. So isn't that a loss on the part of the state government and the people at large to know what the government is doing? So that was why I feel I have value to add, and I stayed. Not because I have any issue with the state government. I don't.
Well, with this, we have to end the discussion. Thank you very much indeed, Dawisu, for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
See you in the next episode.
Thank you very much.
Well, that has been Salihu Tanko Yakasai, Dawisu, the gubernatorial candidate here in Kano under the banner of PRP, with me on the show. On behalf of everyone that has contributed to the production of the show, and the big boss, Zainab Abdurrahman Me Agogo, I'm Umar Isa Dendigo saying goodbye and see you in the next episode.